What is up? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over this. This is a Nikon F2, and while there's no clear demarcation of that, if you look up here at the serial number, you'll notice that it says F2 right there. This is a common practice in a lot of these kind of earlier stage Nikon cameras. They didn't have very clear signs of what camera model it was. You had to usually go to the serial number. You can see it on the early iterations of the FE, the FM, the Nichromat series. But the F2 is also quite notable with the DP1 finder, which is pretty common in these. Pretty standard metered finder. The second in the line of Nikon professional cameras, the first being the F, this being the F2, was released in 1971, ran until about 1980. And it's a pretty great camera, so we'll get into it. Notably, it has the F mount here, so it takes pretty much all Nikon lenses, and obviously it's a counterclockwise mounting system there. You line up with that black dot there. Here's your lens release button there. You'll also have this mechanism here, which serves as, if you press in, a stop down mechanism. If you press in and pull this tab, that's your mirror up switch there. You have a variation of times for your self timer, so if you only want 2 seconds for long exposure shots or 10 seconds, you can set that as such. You just line up this little tab with whatever time you need, and then that will give you the 4 seconds that you need, what have you. It's pretty nice, it's pretty nifty, all-in-one feature right there. You also have a flash sync port right here, and that's about it for the front of the camera. If we look on the top, there's kind of a lot going on, so we'll start off over here. This, unlike the other Nikon cameras, is not your backdoor release. It is just your rewind lever. You'll notice that there's also a contact here and kind of a weird shoe situation. So this is for mounting a separate external hot shoe. If you have a flash, you can mount it there, as there is no hot or cold shoe located on the prism here. Also on the top, you'll notice there's the ASA switch. You have your shutter button here, an advanced system. You have a frame counter, the lock mechanism. If you lift up this outer barrel and line up that with the L, that will lock the shutter. This will keep the shutter depressed. If you are doing something like bulb exposures, rotate it over and press in. Fairly straightforward. Now, if we want to remove the prism, how we do that is press in on the rear here and down on the toggle there. That lifts up just like so. Now we can take a little bit of a look at the prism, but it's a fairly straightforward mechanism. There is contacts here which feed into the camera. So the battery for it actually sits here in the bottom. You have your ASA setting, which obviously adds to the calculations of the metering system. And you have a needle there, as well as a needle down the middle and an indicator for what shutter speed you're on. The shutter speeds are seen right there. But if you wanted to shoot the camera like this, you're still able to do so, because you'll see that there are the shutter speeds here as well. It goes up to 1/2000th of a second for the shutter speed, all the way down to 1 second. You'll notice here there is a black indicator on the middle of the shutter speed dial, and as I advance, that indicator will turn until it lines up with this indicator, meaning that the shutter is advanced and ready to fire. Pretty nifty system overall. This camera has a flash sync speed of 1/60th of a second, as noted by that line. If you're curious as to why this links up with this, there is a little notch there, and this little tab there goes into that notch, meaning that if you move this around, you will then effectively be moving your shutter speed. Now, for whatever reason, you need to adjust your ASA. You lift up on this and rotate around. There is a small orange triangle. You lift up, rotate, you select your desired ASA, and notice as I rotate here, this will then also change my shutter speeds. The new indicator being this little line over the rear number, but also, as mentioned, that will be displayed through the viewfinder. To open up the rear of the camera, there's this system here. So you kick this up, rotate it around to the O, click it open, there you go. Loading this camera is incredibly easy. It's pretty straightforward, but I will demonstrate it all the same. Take a roll of film, lock it into place there, rotate it around and slide it into that little tab there. And there you have it. When you're ready to rewind the camera, you press in on this button here, disengages the take-up spool, and then you can use this to rewind like so. And that's about it. Like I said, it's a very straightforward camera. It's fully mechanical. They do have alternative prisms for this, and they also have alternative focus screens. So for whatever reason, the focus screen you have is not something you want, you could look online, find another one, and then to change it out, you press in on this button again, and lift up here, and the focus screen pops out. The K one there, I believe there's a number of different ones, all with separate letters denoting the differences. There's some that have grids. I'm not entirely sure, I've not gone too far into that rabbit hole, but there is a plentiful of options out there if you need. And then to set it back into place, simply put it there and press this in and it will fall into place. From here you can shoot from the waist just by adding a lens and you're good to go. That's it for the F2 walkthrough. As I mentioned, it's a fairly straightforward camera. There's really not much to it, but it is great nonetheless. Comment down below if you have any questions about the operations, if you have any specific questions about the model, and thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one.